welcome to Summer Intercession, episode 7 of Chatting with Chargers. I'm your host and producer, Thomas Maynard. We're back again for another studio interview here on Chatting with Chargers, our final studio interview of the summer, final interview of the summer, before we get into season 3 of Chatting with Chargers. So we've got a guest who you've maybe seen around, floating around UNH, especially if you're a communication student in the studio. If you'd like to introduce yourself to the audience at home, who you are and what you do here.
Hi, I'm Paul Falcone. I'm the Director of Studio Operations and Media Production in the Department of Communication at the University of New Haven.
So, what first sparked your interest in filmmaking?
Well, that's kind of a complicated question to answer. I didn't know that I necessarily wanted to go into filmmaking. I knew I wanted to go to college and university and study. And so, believe it or not, I'm dating myself here, but the study of television and film was relatively new when I began. Right? The industries had been around for a very long time, but getting a formal degree in that field was relatively new. And so I thought, well, I like TV and I like film, so let's give it a shot. And so end up actually here at the University of New Haven, where they had, at the time, one of the few programs in television and film in the Northeast. So, it's a UNH kind of a thing where, they're kind of ahead of the curve on a lot of things, and this was one of them. And so, I ended up here.
And what was it like when you were first starting to build a career after college in the industry?
Well, let me say when I got here, I really didn't know formally anything about film and television production, and so it was important that I had some very good mentors and teachers here that were passionate about what they did, and they were able to instill that that passion and love for cinema in me. And so once I got here and began to study it and work with the faculty and really other students, many of which I'm still very close with and have shared careers with in various aspects along the way, prepared me, I think, pretty well for what to expect when I left, because it can be a challenging industry to get a foothold in.
And that brings me to my next question.
Yeah.
What were some of the biggest challenges you faced while establishing yourself in the industry?
So, trying to figure out, where you kind of fit in and, what aspect of the industry do you really want to focus on and pursue, which when you're young can be, difficult because you have lots of interests and you like doing this and you like doing that and you maybe you like to do everything. And sometimes you can accomplish that, but, it can be difficult to find your path, what you really want to do and what you're good at. And so early on, I did a lot of things when I left school, but then I did settle on production work in New York City, and so then I was able to see from a very structured organization, how production is handled in more of a corporate and business setting. Okay, and so that helped me kind of decide. Okay, now I really see how the industry is segmented in terms of jobs, job descriptions, what people do, what they don't do, how things are handled, and so then I was able to kind of hone in on what I wanted to do.
And that brings us to our next section, finding your way here, teaching at the university. Mm-hmm. After working professionally in film, what led you to wanting to teach film, and what led you to specifically teaching at the university?
Yeah, so that wasn't a necessarily conscious decision, and there was no intent in that, right? So I had been working in New York, and I was perfectly happy there. Things were going well. But I had been thinking in the back of my head, maybe I should get an advanced degree, maybe I should get a master's degree, but it was just something that I was toying around with. When I got a call from the University of New Haven that said, we're starting a new position here, and we'd like you, to talk to you about it and see if it's something you might be interested in. And so I came back for some discussions and an interview. And at that time I thought, well, I've been thinking about that master's. I'll still be doing production work. And, maybe this is a good fit for me at this time. And so I came back to obviously take that job, but to take advantage of the tuition a benefit that the university offered. And so I went and did my master's degree. And I did it in business, and that was intentional. Because I had kind of discovered what I really like to do is produce and put things together and make, projects work from beginning to end. And, one thing that we learn as filmmakers is that film is a business and that you cannot ignore that part of the industry, right? And so I thought this would be a good fit, and it turned out to be.
And what made this feel like, how did you know that this eventually was the right fit for you in your next step in your career?
The teaching part, you mean? Or the whole thing?
The whole thing of coming back to the university.
Well, okay, so I was able to continue making films. I couldn't teach until I finished my master's degree. But, you're a film student yourself, and, film is just a wonderful medium to work in, right? It gives you unlimited possibilities in what you can do. And so that's always just exciting, no matter what. And so, I've just always continued to love making and working on, films and film projects and media projects in general.
And what has been the most rewarding part of working with these students and seeing them sort of develop in similar and even different ways than from how you developed your career journey? How has it been rewarding to see students do the same for themselves?
Well, it's always rewarding to see students succeed, and we do our best to give them the tools so that they can be successful. And because we're a very kind of hands-on program here, we get to see that success in real time, right? So it's not theoretical that, you're going to go out, leave here and make things. You're making things now, and we can see the results of that. They can see the result of that. They know what they did right. They know what they've done wrong, perhaps, and you continue to learn and craft and hone your craft. It's like anything else. It's it takes practice, and practice is repetition. It gets a little complicated when you're talking about making films and making television, just because the process can be so cumbersome and difficult, and there are many parts to it. So it's not like, picking up your acoustic guitar and practicing guitar for 2 hours a day and then putting it back on the stand. Getting those reps in can be challenging, but that's what you're here for at the university. It gives you the access to the facilities, the personnel, the other tools that you need to get those reps in, to get that practice in, and get comfortable with what you're doing.
And that brings me sort of to the next segment, which is working with students and teaching here at the university. For those who may not be a communication student watching this, or a prospective student, what are some of the classes that you teach here at the university, and do you have a favorite class to teach?
Mm-hmm. Okay, good question. Well, I teach mostly the film classes. Some are production oriented, and some are more film theory, film criticism, and then actually this semester, going back to a course that I haven't taught in quite some time, which I do like, which is history of film. But they're all rewarding in their own way, and I don't know that I have an absolute favorite, so kind of hard to say. I enjoy all of them. I hope my students do too.
Oh yeah, I can say from personal experience. But how do you encourage students to find their own style and voices as a storyteller in filmmaking?
Yeah, well, first of all, you need to believe in yourself and trust yourself. I've known students that have come into the program. Maybe they're a little bit hesitant about trying things and being afraid to do something because I don't know how to do that, or I'm afraid to make a mistake, or I just don't know how this works. And you won't until you do it. So you just need to do it, right? And so some of the advice that I give to student filmmakers is it's that, to borrow from Nike, just do it. I mean, that's an important phrase, right? It works in film too. I've seen, over the years that I've been doing this, many people, not necessarily students, but even in the industry, that they've been working on a movie, and I know movies take a long time. They can take long time to make. But I'm working on a film, and then it just never gets out of the initial stages. And you just need to keep that thing moving. You need to advance it no matter what. Keep doing it, and then finish it. Make sure you finish. It's really important. If you start it, finish it, and then go on to the next one.
Can you share some of your favorite moments from your time working here at UNH? Maybe some projects that you've worked on here, or some things you've seen students do that's been memorable?
Well, it's always fun when the students, either in the beginning film course, Film 1, Film Production 1, or even Production Fundamentals, and then the Film 2 course, is when we finish those films and then they enter them into film festivals and they get accepted into film festivals. That's always exciting for the student. It's exciting for me that it's being recognized not only among their peers here at the university, but out in a world that doesn't know them from anybody else and says, yeah, hey, you made something really good. This is great, and we're going to show it. And then the next step where they win awards for a lot of the work that they do, and so it's recognized at even another level, right, at an industry level that by professionals that hey, you guys are doing good work, keep it up, and so that's always rewarding.
And next, I would
being on set with students. Yeah. I like to be on set with the students and just really. Get in the trenches with them on a long, grueling, film set day of, 12, 14, 6, sometimes longer hours, and they get it. You got to put the effort in if you want the reward. Yeah.
And this brings me to my next sort of section: the future of the film industry. Where do you see the film industry going in the next few years? Is it good direction, bad direction?
Yeah,
just sort of neutral.
Things are changing faster than they ever have. I can remember, just as a comparison, when I learned film, it was on celluloid, it was on actual film, and so it must have been a decade or more, there was this discussion and talk about the technology changing, and film as is going to end as we know it, and it's going to go digital, and that took years and years and years for it to actually come to fruition. Now we know that most films are shot digitally. There's still a lot of filmmakers that stand their ground and say, no, I will not go digital. I'm going to shoot on film, and that's great. But things are really evolving very, very quickly now, especially with AI being incorporated into various stages of the film production process, not just the physical production part, but you see it in pre-production, you see it in post-production. So that's changing. A lot of those tools are really going to make filmmakers more efficient, I think, in some of that kind of work. Creatively, I would be hesitant to, say, what's going to happen with AI creatively. I know currently the students that I'm teaching here right now, there's a lot of pushback on using it as a creative tool, and I totally get that, and I understand why. There is pushback on that. So we'll have to see, where that goes. And I think we're going to find out sooner than later, just with the way things are moving along. But here, we're trying to keep up with those things too. So we're hoping, and there's a very, very good chance that by this time next year in this very studio, we will have a fairly large LED volume set up in here. So we'll be able to begin doing virtual production in this studio. That's a new production, relatively new production tool that a lot of traditional filmmakers are embracing and using. Because it's not a replacement for creativity, it's really just another tool to be more creative, more flexible with your creativity.
And are there any skills that maybe you didn't necessarily need to learn as a filmmaker when you started, that students today, it's like definitely they need these skills that I didn't necessarily need to use during my time as a filmmaker?
Well, I guess it depends on what kind of filmmaker you want to be. While at a certain level, the industry is still very segmented in terms of, job descriptions and things that you do. Today, you really need to, I think, have a more balanced set of skills, especially earlier in your career. So, being able to write, being able to organize, being able to, shoot, edit, do kind of everything, at least in the beginning, I think is pretty important.
And this brings me to my final section, advice for current and future chargers. For students sort of trying to get into filmmaking and media, what advice would you give them?
Kind of goes back to something that I said earlier, which is, you just have to have confidence in yourself. You have to trust yourself, and continue to pursue and believe in yourself, and it'll work out for you.
And the big question of the episode that we like to ask every sort of, especially staff that work here at the university. Why should students who want to study filmmaking or anything in communications, why should they pick the University of New Haven?
Yeah, okay. The University of New Haven is a safe place where students can learn, experiment, be with people that have the same interests in them, but also more importantly, I think, people that maybe don't have the same interests or are pursuing the same kinds of careers. That's really important to be able to broaden your perspective on things. It's an opportunity, or provides the opportunity to grow and be a lifelong learner, and give you the best chance at success.
And as you've seen countless classes of graduating students, what do you hope students take away from their time here at the university?
Well, I'll just use my example. I have lifelong friends from the time that I spent here many decades ago, great memories of being with those people and then continuing to be able to work with them, and making me really a kind of a lifelong learner, to pursue knowledge, pursue new things, new ideas, try new things, experiment, and I still do that today. So I think I owe that to this university for that.
And do you have anything else you would like to add to or say to the audience at home?
Well, this guy's really great. He's one of our stars. And you're doing exactly what you should be doing here, right? So you're taking advantage of everything that the university and the people around can offer, and you're doing a great job, so keep it up.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching episode 7 of the Summer Intercession season of Chatting with Chargers. With that being said, this is the final episode of the Summer Intercession. We hope you enjoyed sticking with us throughout the summer break. And if there are any other episodes in the Summer Intercession you have not been able to see yet, please go check those out. Those will always be available. And with that being said, I would say new episodes every Friday, but no new episodes are coming out until August 28th, which will be the premiere of Season 3 of Chatting with Chargers, where we'll be back with many new faces, but in our regular format. Still, until then, and after that, daily posts on Instagram and Facebook. And with that, we'll see you in Season 3.